So one thing that I never do is show tips in practice mode because I don't really believe in it. But considering the jumbo heavy scheme that I showed, using the play PA counter waggle as a steal or crosses setup, we're going to take a look at the singleback jumbo scheme and the play cowboy post. And it's going to be actually identical to what we're running out of the singleback jumbo heavy. What we're going to do is we're going to streak X. We've got circle already on a drag, and then we're going to drag triangle. Now in the singleback jumbo heavy scheme, as you know, when this guy over here is lined up right next to this guy, I'm going to motion him out anyway. So essentially what we're doing is we're negating the motion and then having this guy on his post route, and it is an identical setup. So we can leave R1 on his block and release if we choose, but this is going to be the setup that I'm going to be using, as I said, to beat a lot of the pressures out there, just like in the singleback jumbo heavy scheme. And let's take a look. So we can high pass to X, we can throw to circle if they're sending pressure. If they're not in a cover 2, the drags are always going to be our first read. What you can do is you can actually just max protect, then go streak, then drag triangle if you want to get rid of that delay route by the running back. The delay can be good to have there at times, but we're going to get into a little bit more. Now as you see right here, we can hit that post route as he cuts across the middle. I'm not really a fan of this whole practice mode stuff. I'm surprised I haven't been block shaved yet, but let's do this. Now let's keep the drag and R1 on the play. Now the reason why I don't like to do this the majority of the time is due to the fact that they're going to run into each other. Even if we put R1 on a block and release the other way to help block, just like we would in the singleback jumbo heavy scheme, he's going to run into the other drag. So either way, it's not really going to make much sense, so we're better off just having him as normal. So let's set it up. Okay. Now, I'm just playing against a cover 3, so there's not going to be any pressure. And watch what happens when there's not going to be any pressure. See how they just run into each other? I don't like that at all. So you're much better off doing something like this, if you really want to. Put your guy on an option route. Then as the drags cross, you've got this sitting down over the middle. So I didn't work on any gameplay for this because, as I said, it's a waste of time considering the fact that I've already shown this exact setup. Now what we're going to do is something a little bit different. In this scheme, I want to motion this tight end over quite often. So what we're going to do is we're going to max protect. We're going to streak him. Then we're going to drag X, drag triangle, and now when we motion him over, oh damn, I apologize. There we go. Now what we get is we could motion him back just like we do in the halfback dive, and then even have him as a blocker and then go 3 routes with, if we think there's going to be a heavy blitz. This is a great formation against the blitz. Or we can just have him on the streak. If you max protect, you got to wait until he sets, so it's kind of give or take. But as you can see now, we can just run this mesh concept with him over on the other side as well. Now let's take a look at something else. Now, last year X would have been great because it's a speed out, but the game changes every year, and you know, jumbo heavy or jumbo is going to be effective or less effective year in and year out. It really just depends. So the speed out isn't really that good of an option. It can be, but So what we're going to do here is we're going to streak X and we're going to block R1. Now obviously this is a little bit of a, a different setup. Instead of a drag, we've got a deep drag, but now we have to worry about triangle and square running into each other. So it really kind of depends, right? So this is where you can do something like motion this guy over, and now what we can do is we can have the over route that was very effective last year. This not going to be as effective this year. Last year this was pure money because of the way the zones play. This year, not so much. But if we had motioned that guy over, now what we can do is we can actually go with a block and release with R1 because we've got the drag going to the left. We can have the block and the release, because if they don't blitz and he goes out on his route, then R1 is going to be by himself. And if they are blitzing, then he's going to stay in the block, which is, of course, beneficial. So I'm probably going to get block shedded here. I absolutely hate practice. Triangle doesn't get open, but as you can see, square is a nice little route over the top. So many different things that you can do out of this particular play. You could even motion this guy over if you wanted to, and now you've got a corner route, like tight end corners. You've got the streak, you know, and then you can block this guy, or you can put him on the block and release now because triangle is not on that route. So now if we motion him over, and then we've got that route running just like the tight end corners, now we've got him on that type of route. So let's say we max protect, and then we put this guy on a drag, okay, just like the tight end corners play, and then we motion him over. It's essentially the same type of deal, right? We're max protected. We've got the drags underneath, and then we've got the corner route. And of course, you can run this flipped, unflipped. Now, if you're going to flip this formation, it's not like jumbo heavy. You know, if you flip it, you know, guys are going to move. So unfortunately, you can't do that. But there are a lot of different things that you can do. So, love this play. It has things that the jumbo heavy doesn't have. You know, for example, unfortunately, there is no wide receiver wing package, so you're going to go one wide receiver at most. You can't have two. But it's probably a better running formation. Well, it's not probably a better running formation. I would say that it is a better running formation. And one final thing that I'm going to show, just because I do play regular teams, and having a guy like Grimble in at tight end isn't always beneficial. So what I do is sometimes I want speed. So obviously you don't want a guy out on the field all the time because he's going to get low stamina, etc. But if it's a key play, like very, very important play, I love to put a guy like Ryan Shazier in at the tight end position, because as you can see, he's an 80 overall at that position once you put him in. He's got fantastic catch. So let's just see here, and we're just gonna, all we're gonna do is just put him on a drag, okay? And just take a look at how fast he is. I mean, this is gonna be such a big difference. You know, he can catch the ball no problem. Wasn't necessarily the best example, but if we go and take a look at Ryan Shazier and his catching numbers, let's see, he's got 70 catch. I mean, 44 catching traffic, whatever. He's got 97 jump, which is, you know, it's ridiculous. So he can get it done. You're going to see gameplay footage where in the rest of the scheme where I'm using Shazier at that position. So whatever team it is that you're using, or whether you play Mud or Draft Champions, whatever, if you always look at your roster and see what kind of catching that you can have with a linebacker that can substitute in there. So that's something that I love to do. So I hope you guys enjoy this play. Singleback Jumbo offers a lot of the same things that the Singleback Jumbo Heavy has. It's just a little bit different. And of course, it's in many, many playbooks, unlike the Jumbo Heavy. So I'll see you guys soon with different plays, more plays as they go on. And I hope you guys like it.